man. Let's go ahead and get this whole thing ready right here. Okay, 1 minute here. 1 minute here. Debug camera. Okay, here a minute. Cam speed 0.2 just because it's a little bit too fast. Alright, here we go, here we go. Alright, Dylan, you got this. Okay, Dylan, fucking shut up. Okay, guys, I'm sorry for bringing you guys through this whole, for some reason I just started to record and talk a little bit early. But yeah, no, welcome back to a new video, my friends. Welcome back. So pretty much, we're going to be going over rating tips and tricks in this video. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be, like, for a lot of beginners. Maybe I can come out with, like, something more, like advanced later, like an advanced tips and, or, like, a tips and tricks for advanced players or something. Honestly, I feel like I wouldn't do an advanced tips and tricks for rating. I would just do an advanced tips and tricks in Rust, right? Which would pretty much just obviously be for everything. But yeah, no. Okay, and so the very first thing that we're going to kind of go into is clues with bases, right? So, like, what clues can I, like, kind of look for to make me feel like it's going to be, like, a somewhat decent raid, right? So, like, which one right here are you guys going to raid? The right or the left, right? We're all going to say the right. So, not all bases are going to look like this that are well set up or anything. This one right here could be the juicier one. It could be. It's all RNG at the end of the day. Like, you might get unlucky and get a bad base, even though it has all these different things like wood barricades outside. There's the frickin', you can see that there's a double door frame poking through right there, because if we go over here, you can see that there's no double door frame, because if I go inside here, well, there's no double door frames anywhere, which the frames are the things that hold these garage doors, right? And only the stone ones poke through the sides, so keep that in mind. You can sometimes use double door frames to guide you around, because if I look right here, okay, front door's here, next door's there, then he takes a right, then he goes here, then he goes here, then this right here is the end, obviously. And so, like, you can kind of use double door frames to guide you, and they're just like these small things in the middle that stick out. But again, only stone double door frames poke through. So if I go right here and I upgrade this right here to sheet, it does not poke through at all. Wood ones don't poke through, armored ones don't poke through, only stone ones. So just keep that in mind. Those things can guide you. But yeah, no, like, we can kind of like look around. This right here is a bear rug that's sticking through the wall. We have a normal rug that's sticking through the wall. We have a freaking lantern that's sticking through the wall, as we can see kind of like right there. There's nothing actually in here because, like, this is just like a prop, obviously. I'm not going to actually make like an entire interior and everything, but I'm just kind of showing you different clues. We have barricades out here. Now, what does this mean? That means that they've hit barrels and stuff, man. Like, you get these things from barrels, like they've been component grinding. So this right here is like an example of, like, usually you're not going to have like this many clues, but here sometimes you'll get like a rug that sticks through, and it's like, okay, they've looted some stuff, right? Like, these guys could be pretty well set up. But this one right here could still be better. It's all RNG, right? So, yeah, always be looking for certain, like, clues with bases and stuff to see if, like, okay, like, is there anything that shows, like, they're, like, pretty, like, well-established? Like, do they have double door frames that are poking through? Like, do they care about their loot like that? Or are they new players, like this guy over here, and it's just two doors, and it's all open, and there's just a box of sulfur? I mean, like, there's no way to really know, right? There's no way to really know. So, yeah, make sure that you're looking at different clues and stuff about the base that you're depending on rating. And, yeah. And so, yeah, it's like, that's that whole thing right there. Now, the next thing that I'm going to highly recommend, guys, is coming prepared, okay? Now, when I say coming prepared when, like, you're going to raid and whatever, what do I mean exactly? I mean, bring a spare door, a freaking key lock slash code lock, whichever one you're, like, you're wanting to use. Key locks are for solo players, code locks are for anything more than one person. And then also bring a tool cupboard, right? Because as soon as you end up raiding a base, this one right here, for example, there's going to be more doors here, obviously. Like, this is just, like, for an example. But like, let's say that, like, all these doors are here. You're going through door. You're making a lot of noise, right? Like, people are probably on their way to, like, come encounter you. So then as soon as you end up getting to right here, and then there's actually a TC here with, like, a lock on it, and then you end up destroying the TC, you're probably going to want to have your own, right? Like, you're probably going to want to have, like, these three things right here with you, because that's just, like, you want to seal yourself off, right? Like, people are on their way. Like, you don't want to have to freaking worry about leaving and then just getting insta-killed. You're better off sealing it off, making it secured, then making sure that it's clear outside by actually doing this. You're going to end up bringing a sleeping bag with you, placing it a ways away from the base, you know, like maybe, like, this far away, or just, like, wherever, and then, like, you can kind of, like, clear it out from the outside naked. You can probably make another bag inside this base right here that you can put down as well, with cloth that you end up getting from it, because having a bag also down inside of this base that you were raiding is super ideal, right? Like, you want to be able to respawn inside of here if you have to. So, yeah, make sure that you end up coming prepared, sealing it off with your own door that you ended up bringing. Then also, a tool cupboard's not insanely needed, but it's pretty needed, because if you just end up destroying their tool cupboard so you can actually build, then you just slap down this door right here, and then someone's right out here, and then they take out like a building plan, and then they're like, oh my god, I can actually build here and whatever. Oh my god. And then they can just like start doing dumb shit like sealing you off inside here and whatever, right? And so like that's what bringing a tool cupboard is gonna do. But yeah, now make sure that like you bring like a bag or two over here, one for inside the base, one for outside, a sheet door with a code lock / key lock, and then also an extra tool cupboard to just slap down after you're all done raiding it. So yeah. Now the very next tip that I have is a raid base. Now is a raid base always necessary? Not really. Because sometimes you can raid a base that's like right next to your base, right? It's like let's say that I live inside this 2x2 over here. Ignore on how they look, but let's just say that, like this right here is my base, and I'm gonna be raiding this 2x2 over here, right? Like this honeycomb 2x2. All the doors are here and whatever. Should I really bring a raid base and slap this thing down like right here? Not really. I mean, like my base is right over there, so it doesn't really matter that much. But if you're going far away or it's a really pricey raid, especially if it's an online raid, I would say always make a freaking raid base for sure. You can wing it and chance it if like you don't have the stuff for it, but making a raid base is super good. And this one right here that I built is one of the more common ones that you're going to see. A lot of people just make a 2x2 raid base, right? Yeah, and by the way, I'm not claiming that these right here are like the best raid bases. I just feel like they're the most common. This one right here is more of a solo / duo that like doesn't really have a whole lot for a raid base, and it's really basic. It's like one door that's here, another door that's here, then maybe a garage door that's here, then like their TC and like loot that they want to transfer, right? Because a raid base is going to be, you know, bringing their loot that you raid for into your raid base. You can store extra boom inside of your raid base. So overall, having a raid base is super ideal. And again, like the whole sleeping bag thing, put it inside of a raid base if you are making a raid base. But yeah, raid bases are super important. Now the next thing that I'm going to bring up is an auto turret. And like an auto turret, when you're raiding, especially as like a small group, crazy important, guys. Insanely important. I'm actually someone that sleeps on that, and I need to start doing it more. But I feel like my problem is always coming across a turret, which I mean, like you can buy one from Outpost, but it's like 750 scrap or some dumb shit. So what I would recommend doing is that if you end up getting an auto turret naturally, you can actually go over to Outpost and see a small generator for 125 scrap. A lot of us have the scrap to spare for that. So you buy a small generator. I'm just going to craft one, but you can go to Outpost and buy one from one of the vending machines there. And then pretty much what you can do is you come over with an auto turret, a small generator, low grade, which a lot of us should have low grade obviously, and I would bring like an okay amount. Let's just say that we're going to bring like 250, and then also you're going to need a wire tool, right? And so yeah, and so the turret could be like right here, or you could bring two turrets, one for this triangle, one for this triangle, and also put one right here off the front, just like watch over the front door, you know. But I'm just doing the turret example for the small base right here. But then pretty much you can put like your engine thing wherever is safe inside here. Open, put this right here inside there, and then pretty much just power out. Bring that right there into this. Make sure that you're authorized on this. Then put your gun in, your ammo in, whichever one you're really bringing. And then, boop. That right there is going to be your easiest way to power a turret. It's either that you can do that, or you can bring like a super charged up battery if you're like, you know, like that far into the game. But yeah, no, having a turret, especially as like a solo, by the way, like for someone that's solo and like going into like doing online raids and shit like that, like if you're wanting to like do all that, I would recommend bringing a turret because that shit's gonna help out a lot. But just keep in mind that the turret placement does matter. Like right here, if this right here was my actual raid base with a turret, what purpose would this serve? I'm literally going through this door. Someone can literally just sneak around and then just like run past the turret and then just get inside of the door. Like let's say that the door's gone, right? Like the door's gone, I'm inside there raiding, my turret's over there. It would shoot for a second, but then they could just run in here and just like DB me. So ideally that raid base I would want like right here so that the turret could watch everywhere around the door. So yeah, make sure that like your raid base and slash turret is, you know, good placement. The raid base doesn't have to be super good placement unless there's a turret on it, right? So yeah, just make sure that your turret's placed in a half decent spot. But yeah, auto turrets, use those when you can whenever you're raiding, especially if it's going to be like a most of the time like a longer lasting raid. If it's just a quick 2C4 raid and you just go over to a base like this and just boom in, 2C4 get in, I would just bring like a sheet door, key lock, and then like a TC, and like you don't really need to set up a turret and a raid base for that right there, right? Like this one right here is like a medium sized base. It's going to take some shit to raid, so that's why it's kind of needed for moderate to bigger size raids. So yeah. Okay, and so the very next thing that we're going to be talking about now is splashing boom and non-splashing boom, right? So the thing to know about splashing boom, and again, like I'm only going to be showing this for the 3 main things that you're actually going to be raiding with, which is C4, rockets, and explosive bullets. Those are like the 3 most used things in this game when it comes to raiding. There's other things that you can use, but then also satchel charges, I guess, but satchel charges do not splash at all. So like let's just look at this right here just for example, right? Like if and I'm just going to do this just like for a very quick thing, just to kind of fill in with people's heads. Yeah, no, pretty much like with C4, for example, it does not splash at all. It doesn't matter how close you put it in between the walls here. Literally, if I go right here, it's not going to do any damage to this left side twig wall. And I even made it twig just to show just like a very quick example. I'm just going to mute the audio so that I can talk, but you can see as it blows up, it literally did nothing to that. So that just kind of shows you that, you know, C4 doesn't splash at all. But rockets, for example, rockets freaking splash, right? And so you can see that nothing happened right here, but the C4 did register on there. If I do a rocket right here in the middle of this, you can see that literally all these things right here just now splash. Now the question is, how far away does a rocket fully on splash? Well, let's go ahead and just look at this right here. This right here is where this wall is. This one right here is where that is. So let's go ahead and just shoot, because this is actually a little bit of like a learning lesson for me. Like, let's say that I accidentally shoot a rocket like right there. It does that there? Yeah, it actually splashed all the way over there. It's like you don't even have to be super perfect. Like, oh, dude, I can't shoot it exactly right there in the center. Like, you can probably shoot it like, you know, like right there, and like it'll probably still splash all this. But overall, you want to be shooting in the center as much as possible, because who wants to mess that up, right? But yeah, and then also explosive bullets. Explosive bullets you have to be much more precise with, right? So like if I literally go right here, as long as I shoot dead center right there, it's gonna do a lot of damage. All these right here are at 363 exactly right now, because rockets make it super easy to splash. Explosive bullets are cheaper than rockets, but they take longer and they're loud, and overall like they can easily be worth it. It's just about like, are you gonna get shot in the back as you're shooting, right? So yeah, it's like as long as like you have like recoil control down or something like that, or like you're just going slow with the semi, you can even just see right there, like it looked like I did it like pretty well. This is at 292, 304, 306, 296. Like you can kind of see that it's not 100% perfect. So Rust Labs says that if you go through a stone wall, it takes 185 explosive bullets. But if you're splashing like all these floors like this from like up top, do not bring 185. Bring like 220. I would at least, just because. What's the point on bringing 185 and then not getting in after making all that noise, right? Like that's gonna kind of suck. So the next thing is gonna be, you know, be precautious about, you know, traps being around inside the base, like as you push in, and then also just overall pushing in. Just like be precautious, like when peeking angles. Like if this door right here is gone, and like you just got rid of it, don't just rush in, like, because you don't want to look like this guy. Oh my god, man, it's at freaking 10 HP out of 250, man. Like, there's no way, dude. I'm about to get inside here and get all my stuff. Oh no! And now pretty much you have to worry about Jacob coming in. Oh my god, dude, what the heck's this? Oh, dude, there's shoddy trash right there. What else does this guy have? Oh my god, an AK! Yeah, like, just be a little bit precautious when actually, like, doing raids, and I'm actually going to show you guys just how to be precautious, just for people that are like, well, how do you be precautious? Man, like, pretty much, like, the way that, like, you could avoid that right there happening is just going like this, and then it's like, oh, shit, man, there's a shoddy trap. And it's like, I could probably back up a little bit, but yeah, then you'd have to go through the whole process of actually shooting out these things and whatever, which you don't want to use explosive bullets for, in my opinion, because it's going to be pretty pricey, so you're probably just going to want to use, like, your normal 5.5, but you can kind of see that inside here I put freaking 3, which is not common at all. Usually it's just going to be like 1, so it's not going to take too long to really like destroy. But yeah, guys, be precautious with pushing in, because there can be flame traps, there can be shoddy traps, and you know, you don't want to die like that. Like, it's not going to be fun to die like that, right? So yeah, be careful, and just be precautious. But, you know, then the next thing is taking care of traps. It's like, let's say that there actually is 3 here. What's the best way to take care of that? Head on over to Bandit Camp, my friends. It's going to be your best frickin' friend. I would buy, like, a pretty good amount of F1 nades. Not, like, a crap load, but just because it really doesn't take that much. Like, I'm just going to get 10. 10 F1 nades from Bandit Camp is going to cost you around 80 scrap, I believe, actually. Yeah, 80 scrap. Then pretty much, you know, like, you just want to chuck it in. Now, be careful, because these things do splash pretty far, so you want to make sure that you're not, you know, like near them. Like, it's not going to splash me unless it has, like, vision on me, right? But as long as I have no line of sight of it, then it's not going to hurt me. Man, like, this right here is a very, very good example on, like, where to use nades at, in my opinion, because nades have a lot of splash, and they actually destroy these traps very, very well. And so, as you can see, that just now actually, the wall was pretty weak, so kind of ignore that. But now there's only, like, one trap left, and this thing is probably not going to take that much. Oh, shit. Yeah, look at that. And it's like, F1 nades are, like, insane. They're actually insane when it comes to breaking traps like that, especially if there's multiple. So don't be sleeping on F1 nades, dude, because honestly, I sleep on them still. I honestly still sleep on them. So yeah, make sure that you're actually using F1 nades when it's necessary. Maybe bring some as your rating. Bring, like, I don't know, 15 with you. And now the next tip, my friends, the next tip is the mixing table. This is a very, 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 very small tip that I personally feel like most people should know, because I feel like not a lot of people know. But by default, here, man, like, let's actually just take out the mixing table right now. Okay, why am I making all these mixing tables? The mixing table is super, 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 super dope because if we look inside of it, and so first things first, you can make explosives inside here. 50 gunpowder, whatever, like, it's the same amount as if, like, I go right here and craft it, right? So it's like, okay, like, what's so special about it? Well, first things first, you can literally start cooking explosives inside here, then actually leave your base and continue, like, doing your day, right? So, like, that's always an option. Hold on a second, Dylan. Freeze frame. First things first, for new players that might be wondering, you can only craft explosive inside the mixing table if you have it learned, right? And so, like, if you have not researched the explosive or learned it throughout the tier 3 tech tree, you cannot craft it inside of this. So it's not like you can just go and craft one up when you don't have it learned. So keep that in mind. That's something to know. Don't get confused about that. Then not only that, maybe you're making explosives, but it needs to go quicker. Get a mixing table. You can literally have 4 mixing tables going with explosives at the same time just to make crafting them way, way quicker. It comes at no extra expense, no cheaper expense with that. But if we scroll all the way down on the mixing table, there's actually something that's really, really cool. There's freaking 10 gunpowder, takes 10 sulfur, 10 charcoal, or actually, no, 20 sulfur and 20 charcoal. Sorry, I sound like an idiot right now. So yeah, 20 cooked sulfur and 20 charcoal. So it's like, okay, like, what's so special about that? 20 sulfur and 20 charcoal is actually cheaper than if you craft it in here. You can see that it takes 30 charcoal and 20 sulfur if you craft it here. But if you craft it inside here, you're actually saving 10 charcoal every 10 gunpowder. So it's like that. Like, if you're someone that finds yourself struggling on charcoal and overall, like, you just don't want to be struggling on it, making it inside of a mixing table, making your gunpowder inside here is super, 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 super good, I feel like. I feel like that's super, super underrated. A lot of people probably know about it, but you as a new player that might be watching this, like, you might be like, oh, shit, like, that's actually dope. And even, like, 300 to 2K hour players might not even know this, but, yeah, like, I feel like that's a super, super good thing to kind of know of doing, right? And if you need a mixing table, you can naturally find them inside the beige crates, but if you can't find one, you can actually go to Bandit Camp and you can buy one for 175 scrap, as you can see. And if you just learn one of the mixing tables as soon as you end up buying it, they're actually insanely cheap to make. They only cost 200 metal frags and 100 stone, which is literally nothing at all. In my opinion. So, like, if you're, like, a group or even a solo, depending on, like, how, like, your whole playstyle is, plop down, like, 3 of these things just so you can just so you can make gunpowder and explosives and all this without even having to do it in, like, your own inventory. Because you can just start this stuff up, leave it, come back later for it and grab it, right? You know, like, this stuff doesn't even have to be on you. So I feel like that's super, super convenient with, like, the explosives. Because the thing about crafting a lot of explosives is that someone is, like, the base bitch, right? Like, if you're crafting explosives, you can't go out and do anything. You can't leave the base. You're crafting explosives. So if you're, like, a really, really big group, man, plop down, like, 6 of these bitches and then just fill them all up, and then you guys can, like, still go roam as, like, you know, explosives and stuff for crafting. So yeah, mixing tables, pretty good thing to have in my opinion. And now the last thing, guys, the last thing that I can leave you with is eco rating, okay? Eco rating can be so freaking important, okay? But there's little things that, like, you need to, like, kind of know about it, right? So I'm going to go to make a couple different bases just to give off these last few examples. So the very, very first example that I have is getting inside of a vault base where they leave their vault foundation stone. If you're not too sure what a vault base is, you can go and look that up. But pretty much it's this type of base where you seal, or, like, you have, like, this vault. Pretty much, let's say that I live here. The way that I'm going to log off each night is coming out here, putting down this twig floor, then putting up this floor right here, right? And now with eco rating, there's certain things that, like, you can pick into and, like, get into with just, like, using some tools, right? So the main thing that you're going to be using to eco rate is a jackhammer. You can buy this jackhammer from one of the vending machine shops at Outpost for 150 scrap. It's really, really worth it if you're trying to eco raid. But oh yeah, then also just mining in general, right? Like just mining like stone, metal, sulfur nodes, and whatever. This is like the main thing that people use to mine. But then you're also going to be wanting to bring a tier 1 workbench, because this right here is the way that you repair your jackhammer. So then pretty much just when like seeing this, you would come over here, 64 explosive bullets or 4 satchels, whatever, destroy this door, and then it's like, oh my god, man, they freaking left this foundation and this foundation stone, which means that I can jackhammer down into this, and then boom, oh my god, like we can literally go inside their shit. And now we're inside of here, which is like awesome, you know? And again, the way that I actually repair your jackhammer is pretty much you would just go to this workbench with your jackhammer as soon as it breaks. Click on your jackhammer right here where it says drop. There's going to be a refill button. And then that's just going to like repair it up. And then you can just, pretty much you just like run back and forth destroying this. And yeah, that's like one of the main ways to eco raid and one of the first things that I thought of. So ideally, with this base, what would they want to do? They would want to at least upgrade both these things right here to sheet metal. And then seal it off with stone like that, you know? Now, next we have this. So it's like, okay, like what's so special about this? Well, as we can see a window up there, and there's a soft side window right there that we can actually pick. How do you pick that exactly, though, Dylan? Like how are you going to do this? Pretty much you're going to go like that right there. And like this right here would be building blocked, but you can still use floors. But now I'm just going to go ahead and just go like that. Then you can see that, boom, now I'm up here. Oh my god, do they have a freaking open ladder hatch, man? Let's get in there. Some people might just end up 2C4ing this freaking thing when in all actuality, you can just come right here and just destroy the freaking window like this. It's literally like the exact same thing over there. Bring a tier 1 workbench, bring a jackhammer, bring 2 or 3 jackhammers, however many you can actually afford. The more that you have, the more efficient you're going to be. And like I can literally just go through this right here. You can't go through every single possible window spot in the game. There's some things that can like kind of block you, or like sometimes you won't be able to reach the window, and sometimes actually spears are actually better to use. You're gonna probably need like 20 something spears to actually do this, but you can also use spears if you don't want to use a jackhammer, and then boop, you can actually see that we can actually just reach that window. We can reach all the way up there. So spears reach like the furthest when it comes to this. So like if your jackhammer doesn't reach something, you can make a spear if you want and get inside. But yeah, no, then pretty much this right here just kind of goes to show, like, oh my god, they have their thing open. You end up getting to the point to where this right here is destroyed. Okay, let's go ahead and build over just to be safe. Then it's like, oh my god, okay, we go down here. Dude, all their loot's here, you know what I mean? It's like, things like that can happen. It's kind of a rare circumstance, but I feel like knowing that you can eco-raid certain things can be very, 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 very helpful. That's kind of like how that all works. But yeah, no, I think that right there is going to do it for this tips and tricks video. Sorry if it kind of went on for a little bit too long right there. Fuck, man, like, I just feel like there's a lot of explaining to do, man, because I just feel like if I don't explain something in, like, a certain way, then a new player might just be, like, confused. Well, like, how did you do this, right? Like, I could have just said, well, you just get a jackhammer and just pick through, but then they wouldn't have brought the level 1 workbench. There's just little things that I feel like need to be said, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this rating tips and tricks video. This is actually my first ever tips and tricks video. Sorry if it seemed a little bit scattered and, like, kind of all over the place. I wrote down all these different things that I kind of wanted to do, but yeah, overall, I will see you guys tomorrow in a new video, as always. If you guys ended up learning something new, drop a like, maybe subscribe if you're interested in more Rust guides, and overall, just Rust videos in general, us fucking around on, like, servers and whatever. You know, we like to have some fun, guys. We like to have some fun. But I will see you in the next video. Peace out. Love you guys, and yeah, bye.